Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. What's up, sister?
Good day.
This is great.
Life is wonderful. It is great.
So good. Yeah.
Got to see you, I got to see you 3 times in one day.
I know. We're like, okay, record, okay, stop. Okay, record, okay, stop. So we're on this. Bev and I have things coming up in our life. So we're doing like three short videos, and that will cover the next 3 weeks of content until we can come back together because of time constraints with what we have going on. So her and I will actually, I mean, we may text or talk in the next few weeks, but not doing the tea time recordings. That will be in about 3 weeks. So this is like, yeah, like we were getting to see each other through even anyway. It's fun. It's a
It
lot
is
of
fun.
fun. So what's going on?
Well, I was going to talk to you about meditation. I've been meditating every single day, and it's interesting because as I've in group, we've got one gal that's she's trained in meditation and all that stuff too, and I know you've trained in it. You've also taught a lot of meditation, but it's really learning and it's really interpreting it for yourself because it's different reasons. Like for a while it was just I'm just listening to receive, right? And then it's like now it's where I'm at a space where I'm fine tuning and I'm staying tuned into that space without falling to sleep. And I'm I've had some crazy stuff. I say crazy because it's not something we experience on a daily, but we can. And so I will see all kinds of different people's faces. I'll hear all kinds. There's been a couple times where I've heard so many voices talking, and I'm in awareness of it. And that's how I know I'm not asleep. I'm in awareness of it. Well, that's not even true because even when I go into my dream state, what we call dream state, I'm aware and making decisions and stuff, but I'm feeling things and I'm interpreting it and I'm like, oh, I don't recognize that person's face. I wonder who that is. Like I'm going through this whole thing and it's like I wouldn't have known those things without meditation. And it wasn't I kept looking at meditation from a different standpoint. I feel like, like people look at the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't feel like working out and doing that stuff. And I just didn't feel like doing it. To be quite honest with you, I just didn't feel like doing it. I didn't have the time. I didn't make the time for it. But the more I get connected, and it's not just for the experience, but it's for the realization that I'm tuning in because we're antennas. And so we can tune into whatever we want to tune into. We talked about in the last one, my analogy was you have a whole library within inside of you. And each book has a gift or it has information in it for you for that gift or that knowledge or whatever. But it's like we have all this stuff, and it's like in unless I had the experience of even allowing myself to go into meditation with with guided meditation, without guided meditation, it doesn't matter. I've lately I have my earplugs that I sleep in with at night so I can cut down any sounds, but I'll hear like a humming or whatever in my own ears. And so I'll listen to that and I'll tune into that, or I'm just paying attention to my body. We've been talking about that. I'm meditating a couple nights ago and I could feel the energy coming up through the root chakra, and I could feel it coming up and I could feel it in my solar plexus, but it was almost as if someone had tied a rope around my whole solar plexus area, and that's our power center. But feeling tied down, uh, almost severed. I would almost say that I was completely cut off in that space because that's how it felt. But just but staying in that space, and it's like in a lot of ways, I've when I was in that space, it was like the reason I'm experiencing all these things because there's layers of stuff that I have on me that I put on me, restrictions, not allowing my flow, fear, whatever. All these things have kind of made it kind of suck in and close off and kind of protect itself, I guess you could say. But I've talked about before, when we're protecting ourselves, we're not allowing anything in. And if I have faith, I know that I'm always protected. I was even told this in a dream recently. There was someone, I don't know if I mentioned that, but there was a person that was a contractor and he kind of reminded me of mafia or whatever, but he's trying to bully me. And I'm like, I'm protected. In my dream, I'm telling him I'm protected. And it's like I've heard so many readings about me being you're protected. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I know I'm protected. I heard that. I was told the other night while I was sleeping. But so with this meditation stuff, I'm having all these experiences, and it's I just kind of wanted to bring it forward because I feel like a lot of people are trying to cut things off, and I don't know that it was my intention to get to that place because I feel like I've been being drawn to this direction. But it's like it's so easy now. It's fine tuning. It's again having clarity of what I'm having this experience. What do I want out of it? Well, I like listen. I can only have one person talking at a time, and this in order for me to work properly. But even takes me back to dreams that I had probably, I don't know, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, that I had all these spirits coming to me. Like I couldn't see them in front of me, but then I looked in the mirror and they were all around me. And it's like everybody's talking at one time, and I was like, "You guys gotta, you can't be all telling me everything at one time. I can't do this." And it's like in that energy, I'm not in that space anymore. Now I'm in a space like I can only handle one person at a time, maybe two. It just depends, especially if it's related to one person, maybe a couple, as long as it's related to that one person. But it's being in that flow of that information, and I couldn't have gotten there. I couldn't have quieted down enough. I couldn't have listened enough until I got into meditation. So it's like, what if you find yourself that you're blocking yourself from meditating? Like there's something on the other side of that. It's not a have to, and maybe it was like a fear thing. Maybe it was, something pre, you know, pre-recorded or in my subconscious somewhere from another lifetime or something that was already there. It was already instilled in me to be afraid of it, or maybe it was something I heard my mom say, or who knows. But it's like I kind of went past that place, and it's not even having. I don't have a set time, a set date, or set whatever. I try to do it in the morning when I wake up. I do it at night, and if I have time in the middle of the day, I'll do it then. So that's kind of one of those things I wanted to bring forward, because it's been so valuable, and I'm receiving so much information, like, and then hearing the conversation. Like if I ask a question, I'm hearing a conversation. I'll notice I'm hearing a conversation, or something's being said to me. And it's like, it doesn't seem to be direct all the time. It seems to be almost like we're playing charades a lot. Like even the information might come through as an example or an experience or whatever, how it's being brought to me. So it's like, it's just interesting. But now with me saying that, I can fine tune that. Well, I want it to be more direct. I'd like it to be more, you guys know my filtration system. Let's work past those barriers, or remove those barriers, and let's get this information in, so that I can bring forward whatever needs to be said at any given moment to whomever I'm speaking to, or whomever I'm thinking of, or if I'm healing or sending energy. I want to be able to flow that information through without my subconscious that's been programmed from planet Earth.
Yeah. Meditation is a valuable tool when we learn to sit with ourselves and tune into that guidance that's being presented to us. As you were talking about having all those spirits around and they're all talking at the same time, and you're like, shh, stop, right? I having it in that actual physical experience was a great, as you were talking and me taking what you were saying and applying it to the actual physical experience. Because I had a meeting not too long ago, in fact 2 meetings this month, where I was facilitating the meeting, and I had like 6 people in the room, and there's a conversation here, and there's a conversation here, and you're trying to talk to the person across the table. And I'm like, okay, one conversation at a time, please. And everybody stopped. Okay. And so I continue with the conversation. And as that person's talking to me to answer my question, I have a person on this side of me who's chiming in every once in a while. And now they're trying to talk over each other. I'm like, stop. One at a time, please, so I can hear what is being said. And it's similar, because spirit can, when you sit to I'm not going to say be quiet, but when you sit to relax and to be in your meditation, that does open you up if you choose, because you can turn it off as well. But if you choose to be open to spirit, meaning open to the guidance that's the universal guidance, the collective consciousness guidance, God's guidance, however you want to interpret it, that information comes to you, it can seem overwhelming because so much is coming. And I've had the experience several times early in my process about learning about this stuff. And I would say, okay, I can't handle all this. need to tone it down a little bit so I can receive it in a good way. And you can talk to spirit that way. You can have, like, just, I would tell Bev that, Bev, bring it down a notch so I can understand you. Right? So, whatever relationship you have with your spiritual guidance, that's up between you and that. And I love humor. I love to think about how our angels or our spirit guides are like, is she getting it? So, but yeah, so I had a physical experience where I needed to tell people pretty much zip it so that I could hear the information I needed to hear. When you sit in meditation, it's to quiet the self down, because our mind chatter too, our brain just blah 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 blah. Okay, just take a breath. It's okay. I'll deal with all those thoughts later. I can come back to them later. You can come back, revisit if you want to. I can pick it up if I want to, but right now, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to be still. I'm going to attempt to be quiet. I'm going to open myself up to information. But a lot of times it's our own inner dialogue that is being noisy, and having that awareness. It's something that we do so much through our day, is we're thinking people. That's our human side. We think, and it's just constant. It's constant. If you ever really given any awareness to your thoughts, you would be amazed at what you actually think in a day. Seriously. When I started doing that, I'm like, where did that come from? And why would you think that? And why would you think that about yourself? What are you thinking? Because it's just like one continuous thought on all kinds of subjects all day long. And it's exhausting once you actually give awareness to it. So be aware when you're sitting for your meditation about your own inner dialogue, because it can be heavy, it can be comical, it could be straining, it could be damaging, like so many things. So having that inner dialogue awareness, super important.
Yeah. And the whole process of getting to the point where I'm at right now was a process.
Yeah.
It was, and so if I sit and look at all of it now, as you were saying all this stuff, I'm sitting here going through the experiences. I had to go through those experiences because I was tuning in, I was catching my thoughts, because it was like, why are you, what? Like, really? You're thinking that kind of stuff? And it's like, even recognizing when I do it with myself, or if I feel like a conversation doesn't feel good that I'm receiving from someone else and I go to respond, it's like, that's not in alignment with joy. That doesn't feel good. That's not, for me, that's not in alignment with joy. So if it's not in alignment with joy, I'm going to go over here with joy. I'm going to go hang out with joy. And then it doesn't matter where everyone else is at until you decide to find your space, because I didn't have that overnight, and I couldn't meditate for the longest time. At least then I had there were so many layers to it, because then there was like, I just don't want to do it. And then, and it's like I constantly kept hearing every single thing I listened to, I read, or whatever, you got to meditate, like all the stuff all the time. And I was like, no. And now it's like, I've surrendered, right? So I've surrendered to this stuff. And then when I say this surrender, I surrender to my higher self all the time. I surrender to the creator, because we get in our ideas and our mind from this experience since we've been here. Our ego and everything else has ideas of how things should be and how we want things to be. And it's so much bigger than that. It's so much. If we're creating from that space and not being open to anything else, we're limiting ourselves. And I had been limiting myself for so long. And it's like, I've even asked, I'm surrendering my limits. I'm surrendering. People sometimes say you're going to surrender to the Christ within. It's like, whatever, but it's like, I'm really surrendering. So even when I'm in my meditations and I'm feeling that constraint across my solar plexus, and I'm surrendering it, because I don't know what it is. I don't have to go digging and find out exactly what it was. If it's something that I just need to let go of, I just let go of it. But it's like, I ask, and before I always felt like I knew, but I didn't know. And so now it's like, instead of thinking that I know how to let go of these things, or I know how to handle these things, I'm asking God, I'm asking joy, I'm asking the angels, I'm asking my spirit team, like, holy crap, I need your help. I don't know what to do with this right now. Or, hey, this feels like shit, and I'm tired of feeling like shit, and I want to feel happy. Aren't we supposed to be in the space of joy all the time? Because I feel like we can be. Really, we can be. It's when you're in the space of joy all the time, you're still going to have circumstances that present themselves to you, but the perspective is from a space of joy. So you're not going to be from a space of victim. You're not going to be from a space of anger and hate and all this other stuff, opposition. You're in a space of joy and love and all the amazing filling words that come along with that. But it's that you feel those things, and it's recognizing where you want to be at. And I've recognized I like to be in the space of joy. We talked before, you talked about being in that angry space. Well, that's where I spent most of my life. And it's like, there's still a lingering of it. So I have to kind of check in. That's when I have to be like, oh, I see you and I love you, but I'm going to go hang out with Joy. You want to come with me? Because I'm going this direction because this is what feels good for me. And it's really just recognizing all that, what feels good for you. Because when it really genuinely feels good for you, it's never going to hurt another. It's never going to create lack for another. Speaking of lack, we've got these orchards in town and people are there's two different sides of a stick, right? Like Abraham says, you get this group of people over here that's all about lack, and you got all these people over here about abundance. When I drive through, because I drive through this area daily, I look at it because I was talking to my grandkids and they're like, oh, well, probably a lot of water. And I'm like, well, you could think that. But I said, what do trees bring? Trees bring more water to us. I said, so we could sit here and look at one side of the coin and say, hey, these people are taking all of our water. Or on the other side of the coin, they're presenting something that's an opportunity for our earth to kind of bring more water here to us to feed the supply. So from my perspective, I'm always going to see the glass half full. Actually, it's usually overflowing. But it can be with joy. So it can be overflowing and knowing that all that stuff that's being created there is only going to create more of abundance. So it's really being in a space of paying attention to how you feel. And guess what? Somebody on the opposite side of the stick might say, oh, she's ignoring things, or and she's pretending and she's doing these things. I just know it feels better. And I'm going to continue doing what feels better for me. And sometimes people think that they're happy in the space they are. I hear people all the time. Jim used to do it all the time. I said, you're not happy with your job, but I love helping people. Okay, so for my outside space, I know you love helping people, but I never see you happy. Very, very seldom do I see you happy. You carry such a weight upon yourself. And it's recognizing that stuff. We've been telling ourselves we're happy in situations like that because that feels like it's the best we're going to get right now, right? Like we're not good enough to get anything more, that we're not good enough to have everything move smoothly all the time. We are. We are, but it's knowing that you're worthy of it. We're back to that whole confidence thing. It's having the confidence and knowing. And then if you don't have it, God, where do I have these blocks? What do I have? Why am I not allowing myself this free flowing of abundance? And it's never just about money. It's never just about money. It's about everything. Just like I said before, when we're blocking something out, when we're shielding something, we're protecting ourselves, we're keeping everything away from us. We're allowing a small trickle to come in. And our accounts can reflect it.
Absolutely. Kind of wrapping this up, I want to just come back to causing resistance or facing resistance in things that we know would be beneficial for ourselves. So like you said, working out or meditation, doing things that we know would feel good or feel better than what we're experiencing. That when notice those things, notice those circumstances where you know it would be something that would feel good to you, but because of your habits, your programming, your belief systems, and all the things that you're resisting the idea of doing it, which like Bev talked about meditation, you're resisting the idea of doing it, but you know in your soul that it would be beneficial. These are the things that would be important to schedule with yourself to do. Even just practicing being happy or experiencing joy more often, or acknowledging those moments of joy, moving your body more. It doesn't mean you have to go to the gym for an hour and a half. At least just maybe go for a walk for 10 minutes, or just dance around the house for 10 minutes, or do something fun for 10 minutes that's going to move your body. So notice what kinds of things you're resisting that you know would be beneficial for you, and to help you be and do better within yourself and how you show up in this world. So when you're better within yourself, then you automatically show up differently in the world. So, which is huge with the energy, collective consciousness, and all the things. But it's a self-awareness. So, do you have anything to wrap that up with?
You deserve simply because you are.
There you go. The wise wisdom words from Bev. Thank you.
Annie, Annie. So thank you.
All right, my friends, thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev. There's a lot of information in this video, to me, as always, because we come with these conversations. They're for us. We do them selfishly because we know we grow from having these conversations with each other. It helps us have our own aha moments. It helps us have a mindset shift. It opens us up to other information and ideas, just like Bev talking about the trees and the water and the lack mentality, that comparison, that shift, seeing things differently. So this is why we do this. And so we would encourage you to do this as well out in your life with your friends and family, your coworkers, to have these conversations, plant these seeds that feel good. And that's what we want to move towards, is feeling better within ourselves so that we feel better as we show up in this world. And we're found on Facebook, YouTube, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, all these platforms where you can find us and share the content or listen to the content and have the conversations, whatever you feel comfortable with. So, and it may not even be us. Maybe we're just a stepping stone to the next person that you listen to or visit, coach, get coaching or therapy or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. Share whatever you're learning in your life that's working for you to help you feel better. That is what's important. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Bev, thank you for these conversations. We've been doing this for like over 4 years now. It blows my mind every time I say it. And I just love that we are growing with each other together and on this journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll say ditto to all that. Thank you.
All right, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.